Back. My name is Stephanie. I am the mom of 8 kids, ages 22 down to 6, and I like to encourage moms in homeschooling and the journey that is. And I like to share curriculum reviews to help you pick out the best fit for your family. So today I'm going to be doing a quick little walkthrough of Life for Beginners by Masterbooks. It's God's Design. Masterbooks is the publisher. I'm going to walk you through and show you this curriculum. We use this in our co-op, and it has worked really great for that. We use it for kindergarten and first grade. And so I want to show you how you could use this with your kids and see if it's a fit for you. Okay, let's get into Life for Beginners by Masterbooks. It's God's Design is like the series written by Debbie and Richard Lawrence. This series has actually been out long before Masterbooks started publishing it. I actually used some of these with my older kids when they were little. And my older kids are now 22 and 19. It was all at that time in the bigger book, which if you want to look at the older books, I have those. I have some of the God's Design series older books reviews on my channel too. Maybe not all of them, but at least a couple of them. So, which I actually think works best for middle school. I think these work great for early elementary. I think those work great for middle school, and then you kind of have those in between years, which we use Apologia. Okay, so let's look at this. This covers plants, the human body, and animals. So you start with a table of contents, and it lists out each of the little sections. There are 3 sections, so plants, human body, and if I can turn the page, animals. Each one of these has 35 lessons. So over that year, that's going to give you 105 lessons. So if you do a 180-day school year, which is fairly typical, you would have some flex time in there to maybe not do science every single day. I personally recommend, if you're doing science on your own at home, to do 2 or 3 days worth at one time and just do it once a week. The reason I say that is because I just find it a lot easier to pull it out and like, this is our science day, this is our history day, then the other day maybe is a park day, and the other day is maybe running to the library or an outside activity. I find if I'm pulling out all these little pieces every single day, it becomes overwhelming. So when I was doing this at home, I found that pulling out a book and doing 2 or 3 science lessons in one day and 2 or 3 history lessons in one day made it easier. Now, every book uses a different description for lesson or unit or whatever. So they have units and then lessons. So a lesson would be like 1 day's worth of work for this book. Okay, so let's flip over. You'll notice at the end they have an optional activities section. So that is really cool. It has some like fun hands-on things that you can do. And then it has an answer key, which the things that you would need an answer key for are pretty mild. So gives you a teacher introduction of kind of what to do, how to work on it. It gives you a supply list of things you might want or need, and then it does give you a schedule. So the schedule is kind of a nice thing. It's a feature in all the Masterbooks books, and you can see that they lay it out to be about 3 days a week, and so you could do that 1 day a week, or you could do it multiple days during the week. They have a due date, a grade. This is just the way it's always set up. There would be nothing on here that you would need to grade. So you would just put down the due date, but really you wouldn't even have a due date. If you wanted to keep track of stuff, if you're in a state that requires you to keep track, you could write the date that you completed it and save this for your like proof that you did the work. These are really useful when you have older kids doing work on their own. Now we'll get into the inside of the book. And you can see it's made for young kids because most of the writing is actually dotted. And so the children can just trace. They don't have to though. This is for you to use as you want. If I was doing this with my kids, we would probably trace some things and not others. Because if you do too much, it can become very distracting. So here it has a very simple thing to read. It has some questions to talk about. Has a little outdoor scavenger hunt to find things that are living and non-living. And then it has kind of an indoor scavenger hunt, just looking at the picture. So let's flip to something partway through the book. I like to show kind of some different things. Here we talk about leaves. And so again, it has a very short reading and then a short little activity that you can do, and then a little more reading and some questions to ask and discuss. As you can see, it's so simple to work through. Very great for a young age. Down here, this is towards the back of the book. Again, some reading and then some questions to answer. So not every lesson will have a lot of extra stuff, but there are things along the way. Some of them do. This one has just a little bit of an experiment. Now, so obviously pretty simplistic book, but really, really great for this age. Simple coloring pages that they can do. But lots of good real life pictures. So as you're talking about it, you can be looking at the pictures that are in the book, seeing what's there, talking about it. This one even has some vocabulary, so you could draw. This one has you writing out some vocabulary words. So each unit in here is just a little bit different. This one again has you rearranging them. This is going to be too hard for a kindergartner, right? You're like, oh, I have a kindergartner. You could still use this book. I just wouldn't do this part with them. Maybe a second grader could do this part, but a kindergartner probably can't. But that's okay. They don't have to do this part. You could even write the words. We talked about for co-op, writing the words with highlighter and then having the kids trace over them. So here's one where it has the different words. You don't necessarily have to have your kids memorize every single word either. So that's what we did for co-op for the words that I wanted them to learn last year. Is every week we would start by practicing the words and then by doing some kind of action. So over the year, they really got to learn some of the words. So digestive system, I would say how your body, I'd point to my body, gets energy from food, and I'd pretend to eat. And we might not do all the words that way, but if every single week you practice some words, then you'll start to learn them. One thing I did too, I don't really have like a wall to put up vocabulary or something like that at co-op because we share the rooms. It's a church, so we're in church rooms. I made a little trifold board and I just wrote the words onto the trifold board. And so each week I could just open the board, have my helper hold it, and we would go through the words together. So that was a really great way to kind of go through the words. And you could do the same thing at home if you don't want to have that. And you could even have some pictures. Oh, this one says stomach where your teeth are. I was like, that's not right. This is supposed to be, you're supposed to put an X if it's the wrong definition. That's a little weird. And I love this activity. But it does give you something to start with, right? Again, they may not be able to do some of these, but then some of them they can. If I'm looking at a bird, what senses am I using? Here's an eye. Can I find the parts of my eye? Okay, and then at the back of the book, they have optional activities. Now, you'll notice these are not for every day. They're just some. Making a cell model, looking at the grass. This one, I actually suggested that our co-op kids use Play-Doh to make a model. Instead of, this says out of gelatin, I suggest they just use Play-Doh to make a model. Animals in the grass, what goes up, eating plants, leaf rubbings. So you can see it's just lots of different things. And oh yeah, it keeps going on. There's a fair number of activities. And then it does give you, so see, even for the questions, it gives you the answers. So if you're not sure, you can ask them again, or you can look back here. I would suggest constantly reviewing these throughout the year with your kids. Hey, do you remember what it means to be living? They're born, they grow, and they eventually die. Is a cat alive? Is this alive? The more you review things with kids, the more they really start to remember it and learn it. So it does have lots of all the answer keys back here too, so that can be helpful. Okay. So they say this is for kindergarten to second grade. Some of the work is definitely more at a second grade level. Some is easy to do with a kindergartner. You could easily do this with your kids together. They would each need their own book because there's so much work that's within the book. I would get them each their own book so that they can have the ability to write and trace and do those fun things within their own book. Let's see, what else? So I talked about doing several lessons at a time. And one of the reasons that if you said, okay, so let's look at their schedule. They have you doing 1, 2, and 3 on the first week. I think they have a 36-week school year written in. We actually at co-op, I think they only have 32 days total. So I kind of divided it up that way. So some weeks they'll have to do 4 lessons. But if you do these 3, then you might read through all of them, do a little bit of the book work, and then do one big hands-on activity. So for this one, I would classifying plants and animals. I would do something with classification, classifying buttons, or pick a bunch of random toys and have them classify them, that kind of thing. Then this one, where we have plant and animal cells, I would make cells out of, I would do Play-Doh. Here we have trees and seeds. I would probably either do tree rubbings, like where you go out and find different kinds of trees and do bark rubbings. I would cut apart a seed to see what the inside of a seed looks like. This one has flowering plants. You could take apart a flower and see what it looks like on the inside. Here again, it's talking more about seeds, so here's probably where you'd want to soak some seeds and then you take them apart like some lima beans, send them home, or well, you guys aren't doing it at co-op. For our co-op, we could send them home, have them grow them, see what they look like. They've all done that at some point. Stems, actually be fun to eat different kinds of stems like celery. I'm sure there's others I'm not thinking of right now. Photosynthesis, maybe they act it out. There's all kinds of fun things. So that is kind of how I would do it. I would start my day each week, each time, reviewing some of the questions from before. You could either flip through, you could even make yourself like a little check sheet of all the questions as you go. Remember, the answers are in the back, so it might even be easier just to look through the back here and start pulling out some of them. You could highlight them even if you wanted. I would review some questions, review some vocabulary, then just start reading through the lesson, asking the questions, having them do some of the written work, and then get up and do some of the other fun work. So I hope that gives you a little glimpse into what this book looks like and how you might be able to use it. I do think Masterbooks is an excellent, excellent choice. One reason I love this over some of the, I've seen some really cool unit studies and things for younger kids, but what I love is that this is so doable by any mom. If you have a whole gaggle of kids and you're like, I really need to do some science with my little ones, this is easy to pull out, do a little bit with, know that you covered some things with them, and not be overwhelming. This can get done, and then you can add in the extra fun things when and as you have time without feeling overwhelmed to always be doing some big project. So this is a really great balance that way, and I do love that it has so many real pictures within it. So I hope that is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for joining us today. Please leave a comment if you have something else you'd like me to talk about or you have any questions. Please hit the like button and subscribe to see more videos about what we do. Thanks for joining us today. Please leave a comment if you have something else you'd like me to talk about or you have any questions. Please hit the like button and subscribe to see more videos about what we do.